It was bound to happen eventually for the Toronto Maple Leafs playing a not great game and losing that game. Luckily, they were able to get 3 goals in the third period, tied the game at 4, and get a point in overtime. But they lose 5-4 in overtime to the Arizona Coyotes. And with the loss, the Leafs are now 37-16-5 on the year. And I will start with this. I'm done with the Peter Mrazek experiment. And it's sad because the contract is ridiculous. But I think I can speak for most Leaf fans. I'm kind of tired of watching this guy, man. I really am. Positionally, he's a disaster. He looks like he's scrambling around 95% of the time. And then you get a guy, Eric Källgren, who comes into the game. Now, albeit the Leafs played a lot better when he came into the game. But every save he made, did he ever look? Did he ever, even once, even on the 2-on-1s in overtime, did he ever look out of sorts, scrambly, crazy? No, he didn't. So Mrazek flying around like a nut job, not making saves. He gets pulled in the game. He was bad. Really bad. Let's break down this though. First period. 2 minutes in. They float one on from the point. When I say float one on, I mean they just at the blue line, entering the zones, kind of floated onto the net. Mrazek tries to knock with his blocker to the corner. Not really sure why. But instead, it hits the blocker and it goes the other way down in front of the net. And he's 8 feet out of the net. And they just bang home the loose puck. And I'm like, would it have been the worst thing? To grab with your glove, maybe even put it down on the ice and play it then, or just hold it and get a face-off. No. Well, I don't know what the blocker had to be done. But either way, you're down 1-0 2 minutes into the Arizona Coyotes. Just over 2 minutes afterwards, they come down to 2-on-1, albeit the Leafs defense collapses, and it happened quite often. But did you see Mrazek's positioning on this 2-on-1? And anybody who comes at me saying, look, he wasn't that bad, the defense, you're blind. You're really blind. Watch Mrazek's play. They come down to the 2-on-1, I believe it was Phil Kessel over to Jakob Chychrun, and not only did the guy flub the shot, it just floated along the ice as slow as can be. Meanwhile, Mrazek flies over, loses his stick, can't make the stop, and it just kind of floats in. You wonder why he had to fly over and still couldn't reach it? Because the man was 12 feet out of the crease. I understand cut the angle down, but that's you're literally playing a defensive position there. You're not playing goalie at that point. And the guy's going down. He's already down. Phil Kessel's got the puck. He's already looking at Chychrun, and Mrazek's looking at Kessel, and he's down, and it's massively out of the crease. So, of course, he's got to try and fly over to make the save because he can't get up or slide across because he's so far out of position. And then Chychrun doesn't even need to get a ton on it, and it just glides into the net. It's just atrocious positioning. And now you're down 2. Albeit, the 2-on-1 should not have happened in the first place. I get that. But as I mentioned earlier, did you see Källgren in overtime when they had 2-on-1s? Yes, one ended up in the back of the net. But it was a beautiful, one-timer shot. Fine, so be it. The first one, it was a cross-seam pass. One-timer, cool and collected, slid across, and made a great save to keep the team alive at that point. And now you're down 2-0 less than 5 minutes into this game. At this point, I believe shots were 5-1. Like I said, the Leafs weren't playing well either. But you want to get some stops. Especially when they're definitely stoppable plays that should not have happened. And you're down 2-0 after one period. Shots on goal end up being 8-7 in favor of the Leafs after one period of play. And you go into the second needing a goal. Now, this one, I can't blame Mrazek because this was a pinball machine and it was just a bad luck type of nonsense, right? They fired the puck on, I believe it hit Timothy Liljegren, and then Travis Boyd, former Leaf, bats it out of midair behind the net. I believe it hits Timothy Liljegren and goes in, and you're like, what is happening here, right? Now you're down 3-0. You got to find a way to score a goal, though, against Arizona. Leave it up to Pierre Engvall to get it done. You know, a point shot from Timothy Liljegren. He finds the loose puck and puts it right in between the pad against the post to get the Leafs on the board. It's now 3-1, just under 5 minutes into the second period. Hey, lots of time left, right? Over half a game to play. You got to score 2 goals against a team in Arizona that gives up a ton. So it's okay. With about 8 minutes left, right? Just under that. Or no, sorry, just over 8 minutes left. Leafs turn the puck over in their own zone. You can't blame Mrazek for this goal. They drop it back for Christian Fischer, who's just walking into this. And he goes bar down. And I believe Justin Hall and one other guy, I can't remember who it was skating right in front of Mrazek right when the shot occurs. It beats him right inside here, right, or whatever glove hand he has, right inside here. So it's kind of hard to get your glove in there. It's a beautiful shot from Fischer. And the Leafs are now down 4-1 to Arizona on home ice. Like, I was sitting here watching this game, and I'm like, are we really going to have lost to Buffalo 5-1 at home, and now, at that time, 4-1 to the Arizona Coyotes at home? People are paying to watch that. Put some effort in. They pulled Mrazek after that Fischer goal, and you know what? Like I said, the last 2 goals you can't really blame him for, but 4 goals on 12 shots, it's just not good enough. No matter what the goals look like, it's just not good enough. Right? You got to be able to make stops. And we go into the third period needing to get something going. Because Källgren, made a couple of saves to kind of get in the mojo in his first NHL game. And Alex Kerfoot floats one on from the point. Again, great screen in front of the net. And it finds a way through past Scott Wedgwood. And the Leafs are on the board now. It's at a 4-2 game now. But again, still lots of hockey to play. Yeah, over 15 minutes, but you're down 2. However, Arizona is one of the worst teams in the NHL in allowing goals in the third period. So you still have that little bit of confidence. Because if you score 1, you're right there. Right? And then a great play at the blue line from Michael Bunting to get a pass over to Austin Matthews to the back end of the forehand. And it doesn't look like it goes in. Matthews crashes into the corner. He gets up saying it's a goal. It's clearly a goal. We wait and we wait. Play continues to see if the horn goes off. It does. They go to review. And it does, in fact, cross the line. It's a good goal. The Leafs, now it's a 4-3 game. You're right back in it. Matthews gets goal number 44, I believe, on the season. Bunting with the lone assist at 8:07. By the way, Brody and Nylander had the assist on the Kerfoot goal at 3:38. And you're right there. 10 seconds after that, a little pinball machine at the blue line ends up on Kerfoot and backhands it to Willie Nylander. And he's got a short break and he slides a 5-hole on Scott Wedgwood. And we are tied at 4. Holy crud. What an insane third period. But as I mentioned, the Arizona Coyotes, not a good third period team at all. And now you've tied the game at 4. And Källgren makes some decent stops down the stretch. I wouldn't say high-grade difficulty shots because the Leafs did a pretty good job in that third period, keeping everything to the outside, albeit keeping everything in the Arizona end for the most part. But when it was in the offensive zone for Arizona, they really weren't getting any high-quality chances. But as I mentioned earlier, when Källgren was getting tested, it was a shot from the point. He wasn't overreacting, just grabbing it, holding it, move on, or knocking it not to the corner, freeze, get a face-off, not a big deal. The calm, cool, and collectiveness is something from him that we have not seen in a little while. Mrazek, definitely not. Jack Campbell, lately, definitely not. And he obviously goes on the IR with a rib issue. He's going to be out at least 2 weeks. So they got Mrazek and Källgren to work with, right? Now, before we get to that, though, we go to overtime. Shots on goal in the third period are 18-5 in the third. And I think to myself, I'm like, Arizona has not lost in overtime as of yet. I really wanted that game to stay in reg. It does not. And we go to overtime. And they have a 2-on-1 opportunity, it's a short 2-on-1 opportunity. They already had zone time, but a great stop by Källgren. Out comes Nylander the other way on a short breakaway, and he beats Wedgwood, but he kind of pins it against the post and goes right across the goal line, and they end up freezing it, and then they end up getting a little bit of break, and Chychrun holds on to Matthews, and Matthews is not happy. And you know what? I get it. I do. The referees clearly, it's very evidently, and that's why I'm not too upset with the non-call. Look, initially I was upset because they scored, they won, whatever. When I think about it, I'm like, look, the referees just had their whistles put away all game long. All game long. And they get that little short 2-on-1. And who finishes it off? Jacob Chychrun, the guy who held Matthews back. Matthews starts yelling at the official. Shelgren can't make the stop on the 2-on-1. And you lose 5-4 to Arizona. Out of a possible 4 points against the Arizona Coyotes this year, the Leafs have a total of 1. Got a question for you guys before I go into the other stats. And it's a wild thing, but I want to get your thoughts. So, with this Heritage Classic thing happening on Sunday, no Leaf game tomorrow, no Leaf game Saturday. They play Sunday against Buffalo at Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton. Who's your goalie? Because Mrazek's been atrocious. So do you put him out there in the Heritage Classic? I mean, do you go Shelgren? Like, the guy's made a total of 8 stops in the NHL. You know what I mean? Or 7 saves, 8 shots against in the NHL. Do you really throw him out there? I mean, Joseph Wall's still down the AHL. He's got more experience, but do you bring him up? Like, do you really run Mrazek back out there for that? Like, I can't. Mentally, I can't do it. But I mean, there's really no other option. It's either him or the kid that's barely ever played in the league. And it would be a very interesting telltale sign for the kid. If he goes out there against Buffalo in the Heritage Classic and does a pretty good job, then okay, let him get some runway a bit, because Mrazek's been atrocious. This was Mrazek's time to shine. It really was. You know, with Jack Campbell being on the shelf for a couple weeks and Shelgren coming up and never played in the NHL and just kind of an emergency backup goaltender for today. You know, Mrazek, if he went on a run, he would have been the guy. But you start that stretch by allowing 4 goals on 12 shots and allowing 2 really bad stinkers. I just don't have faith in it. I don't think any Leaf fan, if any Leaf fan has faith in Mrazek, you're nuts. Special teams-wise, they were 0 for 1 on their power play, and that was because they reviewed, I believe it was the second goal, the Chychrun goal for offside. I don't really know why. It was pretty good to me. And you get a penalty out of it. They obviously don't score on the power play, but that was the only power play for both teams in the game. That's why I said the referees really had their whistle away, because other than that penalty that was, a bench minor for reviewing the play, there was no calls tonight. So a little tug in overtime, I mean, like it was a big part of the game that led to the game winner. I get it, I do. It's just they had the whistles away the entire game, and to call a little tug in overtime, it's a really tough one. I mean, look, as a Leaf fan, it was a hold, and you end up losing the game, so I'm definitely furious, but as a hockey fan, I get it. And it sucks that I get it, but it is what it is. Something I wanted to bring up, though. The Leafs were plus 10 in hits. I'm going to let you guys listen to that and just let that marinate for a bit, because I don't think I've ever seen that. Mrazek, 4 goals on 12 shots, terrible. Shelgren, 1 goal on 8 shots. I mean, the 2-on-1 in overtime, you can't really do much about that, but he looked very sharp otherwise, albeit the chances weren't great, but he just looked really calm, like he's been around the league a while, and it's nice to see. Now, the question is, do you run him back out there again? And that's something that I just don't know about. Like, it's an 8-shot sample size, but what's your other option? A guy who's been subpar at best for the majority of this season in Mrazek? Like, he's had a few games where he's been good, and I get that. But, like, like 7 of his last 9 games, he allowed 4 goals or more? Like, that's atrocious. Do you keep running that guy out there? I don't know. I'd like to get the new face and a new look out there, because he has not been good. Now, Alex Kerfoot with a goal and 2 assists tonight. He had a big night. Willie Nylander with a goal and an assist tonight, and those are the key guys in today's game. So, Leaf fans, a lot to digest from tonight's loss against the Arizona Coyotes, but I want to get your thoughts on many things. For one, the hold on Austin Matthews in overtime. Are you up in arms about it and downright furious and it should have been a call, this and that, or are you with me in the sense that, yeah, was there a tug? Was there a hold? Yeah, there definitely was. But the way this game was officiated, is that a penalty in that sense? I don't think so. It sucks. I want to get your thoughts there, your thoughts on the whole Shelgren, Mrazek, Joseph Wall fiasco, if you want to throw it in there. I want to get all your thoughts in the comments below, guys, all right? So you know what? That is going to do it for this one. You enjoyed the video and not the game tonight. Well, in the third period. That's about it, though. Smack the like button. Do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button. You guys not already. Comment down below thoughts on the video, thoughts on the game. What you like, what you not like from today's game day for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Twitter link is down below, so follow up. Send me a DM, do that great stuff. The Instagram link is also down below, so follow up there if you guys have not done so already. And I will talk to you guys, heck, Jays edition. Whenever they do something, because apparently free agency is buzzing right now. I will talk to you guys Raptors edition tomorrow night as they're in Phoenix taking on the Suns, 9 p.m. tip-off there. And as for the Toronto Maple Leafs, I'll talk to you guys on Sunday. Post-Heritage Classic edition, Leafs, Sabres, Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton, 4 p.m. puck drop on Sunday, all right? So thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and the third period of today's game. We'll talk to you guys then.